If you watched the most recent Nintendo Direct and you've been on Reddit, Twitter, Blue Sky, whatever, you have seen that Mario Kart World is officially confirmed. It's coming out in June when the Switch 2 launches. And I thought, what better time to talk about one of the most underrated entries in the Mario Kart franchise. So that's what I'm here to do today. I hope you guys enjoy. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, become a member if you want, join the Discord. Our community is growing quickly. Enjoy the video. Mario Kart 7. A game that should be talked about a lot more than it is, but for whatever reason, it isn't. It's one of the best games on the 3DS, one of the best Mario Kart games in general, and yet, it has quietly faded into the background. Sure, it was a massive success, selling millions upon millions of copies and receiving very high praise from critics, from fans, from everyone. But ask someone today about Mario Kart, and they will undoubtedly bring up Mario Kart Deluxe or Mario Kart Wii, or even Mario Kart DS before even considering 7. So what happened? Why has Mario Kart 7 kind of been forgotten, and how is its dedicated community keeping it alive to this day? Let's dive in. First, let's talk numbers. Mario Kart 7 was a juggernaut on the 3DS. It released in December of 2011, and it went on to sell over 18 million copies, making it the best-selling 3DS game on the entire console. And that is no small feat. Those are some insane numbers, and while it didn't outsell Mario Kart DS, it still solidified itself as the must-have title on the 3DS, up there with A Link Between Worlds and Tamagotchi Life. Part of its success was due to its timing. The 3DS had, honestly, kind of a rough launch, if we are being frank, but once the price dropped and big games started rolling out, like Super Mario 3D Land and Mario Kart 7, the system finally found its footing. Mario Kart 7 came at just the right moment, offering a highly polished, fun, and competitive racing experience that gave players a reason to buy a 3DS. But it wasn't just about timing either. This game was good. Its success also speaks to how well Nintendo has crafted and perfected the Mario Kart formula. No matter the platform, these games always sell like hotcakes, proving just how accessible and beloved this franchise is. But Mario Kart 7, and I'm not being dramatic, was a defining game for an entire generation of video game fans. One of the best things about this game is that it didn't play it safe. It introduced major innovations to the series that are still around, both in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe as well as Tour. For the first time, players could glide through the air and dive underwater. And these mechanics were not just gimmicks to play around with. They completely changed track design and added new layers of strategy. Tracks like Woohoo Loop and Mako Woohoo showcased these mechanics beautifully, and it gave us players dynamic and scenic courses to race through. This one was a little bit divisive. Instead of picking a pre-made kart, players could now mix and match their body, their wheels, and their glider to tweak stats like speed, acceleration, handling, what have you. And this feature allowed for more personalization and strategy than ever before in this franchise, making online matches and time trials even more competitive. In this game, we got 16 brand new courses along some of the best retro tracks ever, like Koopa Cape, Coconut Mall, and Waluigi Pinball. Each course was crafted with expert precision, bringing in creative layouts that took full advantage of the game's newly introduced mechanics. This was the first portable Mario Kart with a real, fully fleshed out online racing experience. Unlike Mario Kart DS, which had very limited connectivity and issues with cheaters, Mario Kart 7's online mode was smoother, more reliable, and just jam-packed with content. And with the addition of communities, players could even create their own lobbies with custom rules, adding an extra layer of replayability, and just making it more fun and easier to find like-minded racers. The game also looked and ran beautifully on the 3DS. The controls were tight, the physics were satisfying, and the game balance felt just right. Perfectly balanced as all things should be. It was an easy game to pick up and play, but it had plenty of depth for skilled players to master. So why is it that, despite being a massive success, despite being a genuinely terrific game, Mario Kart 7 isn't talked about much today? The biggest reason is also the simplest reason. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe exists. Mario Kart 8 released on the Wii U in 2014, then was later ported to the Switch as Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, where it became an even bigger hit. One of the most selling games ever. It has stunning graphics, it has a huge character selection, and gameplay that just feels right. And it quickly became the definitive Mario Kart experience to this day. Up until very recently, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe still received updates, 48 new DLC tracks, more characters, and remains one of Nintendo's best-selling games. It came, it saw, it kicked ass, and it completely overshadowed Mario Kart 7. Another reason? The 3DS era is over. With Nintendo focusing on the Switch and now the Switch 2, the 3DS and its library have faded into history. Unlike Mario Kart DS, which had a much longer lifespan due to the DS's success and then the DSi, Mario Kart 7 had to compete with Mario Kart 8 just a few years after its release. And let's be honest, Mario Kart 7, as great as it was, still lacked some features that could have kept it more relevant. There was no mission mode like there was in DS, there was no versus mode outside of big online play, there were no dedicated battle arenas, just some repurposed tracks, and far fewer characters compared to later games. Even with all of its strengths, 7 never had that one unique selling point that made it irreplaceable. It was an amazing game, but when Mario Kart 8 came out, most people just moved on. But despite being somewhat forgotten in the mainstream, Mario Kart 7 still has a dedicated and passionate community, and the main reason for that is CTGP 7. For those unfamiliar, CTGP 7, Custom Track Grand Prix 7, is a huge community mod that adds new tracks, characters, features, and just quality of life improvements into Mario Kart 7. It was created by fans, and it has over 50 custom tracks, and it allows for online play even after the official servers were shut down, and it introduces features like speed modifiers and custom music. It's essentially a Mario Kart 7 expansion pack made by the community, maintained by the community, for the community. The mod, much like traditional CTGP on the Wii, has breathed new life into the game. It has kept it fresh, and it keeps giving players a reason to revisit this gem. And thanks to the rise of Homebrew on the 3DS, I highly recommend doing that, installing CTGP 7 is easier than it ever has been, and it makes it far more accessible to fans who want to experience Mario Kart 7 in the best way possible. Many players believe that CTGP 7 is what Mario Kart 7 should have been from the very start. A fully realized experience with better track variety, improved online functionality, and new content to keep things new. So at the end of the day, Mario Kart 7 deserves a lot more love. It was a huge success. It introduced mechanics that are now mainstays in the series, and it was one of the best-selling racing games of its time. While Mario Kart 8 may have stolen the spotlight just a couple years later, 7 still holds up incredibly well and remains a fantastic Mario Kart experience. And thanks to CTGP 7, the game isn't dead. It's thriving in its own little niche community that I am so happy to be a part of. While it may not be in the mainstream gaming conversation anymore, those who love it, and they keep the wheels turning. And so if you haven't played Mario Kart 7 in a while, or maybe you haven't at all, maybe it's time to dust off that 3DS or invest in getting one if you never played it. I highly recommend it, especially with the rise of Homebrew. Is one of the best things I ever did to my 3DS. Mod it if you're feeling adventurous, and give this classic another go. Who knows? You might just remember why it was one of the best Mario Kart games ever made. And hey, you never know when you're racing through Rainbow Road online. One of those racers just might be me.